If you love talking about cats, but your friends and family are kind of over it, this is the podcast for you. Join your hosts, Danielle Stray Woolley and Elizabeth Calico Gearhart, on the Jersey Podcats, where everyday cat lovers share funny stories, challenging situations, and ask their questions about cats. All right, let's get right into this episode.
Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle Woolley.
And I'm Elizabeth Gearhart, and we are
the Jersey Podcats.
Yay!
And we are here today with an awesome guest. I know I say awesome all the time. It's one of my favorite words. Desiree Argentina. Got you good?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So, and she's going to be here. We have a lot of things to talk about. So before I ping pong all over the place, Desiree, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. I'm really excited. My name is Desiree. I'm from New York. I now live in Denver, Colorado. And I've been a cat lover forever. I'm a therapist. I work in a middle school and high school providing mental health services, and I also have my own private practice. But on the side of that, my boyfriend and I run a cat rescue, and we've been doing that since 2014. We started in New York, and now we do that in Colorado, and we are called Cat Rescue Crew.
That is so cool. So then did you become a therapist because of all the work you do with cats, or did you get all the cats because of all the work you do as a therapist?
You know, I've always been an animal lover since I was little. My stepmom actually told me recently that I used to say when I was little that I was going to own a farm and have all animals in my house. And she's like, oh, that's funny because I always have animals in and out of my house. But it kind of happened at the same time. I was working, and every day on my way to work, this cat would follow me to work every day, and I would bring treats in my bag, and I'd be, throwing them in the street for all the stray kitties. And I didn't know about, rescue and TNR, anything like that, but I was feeding all these cats, and this one cat would follow me every day. And I said, you know what, I'm going to bring her home with me. So I went and bought a carrier, and I took the bus to work. So, I got off the bus stop and I walked, and I shoved her in the collapsible carrier, and I brought her into work, and she was my cat for like 13 years. She actually just a few months ago, she passed away at 17 years old. And she's been all around with me. She would travel with me, but it was funny because I had always wanted a foster, and I was just graduating graduate school, and I was looking for jobs in the mental health field. I was applying for therapy positions, and there was a post from the Humane Society, my local Humane Society, and it said, are you interested in fostering? We're looking for a foster parent for a mama cat and a semi-feral cat and her 2 newborn kittens. And I was interested. So I just emailed, and I just said, or I called or something, and I was like, hey, I'm just interested. I just want to hear more. And they responded with, pick them up tomorrow. And I was like, wait, what?
That is how rescue works. We do not waste any time. You're interested, come right this second. We will send a limo to pick you up. Come get these cats.
I was shocked. I was like, I was just inquiring. I was just interested. I wanted to know what this entails. And I went to my boyfriend. I said, I'm picking up 3 cats tomorrow. And he goes, what do you mean? And I'm like, I don't know. And like literally like a month later, I was leaving to study abroad, or like a few weeks later, I was leaving to study abroad for 6 weeks. So I was leaving him alone with the mama cat and the 2 kittens, but it kind of happened all at once. I started fostering. And then right when I got back from study abroad, I got a job at a mental health clinic. So kind of all happened at the same time. And I've been incorporating, animals into mental health because I think, animals are just so great for our mental health.
Yeah. And you touch on so much, because a lot of people will say like, oh, I don't have time, I wish I could. But do you find that like, without you're getting to the point of overwhelm, but when you're busier and you kind of have a flow going, I sometimes find it's easier to fit stuff in because you can kind of schedule it. But when it comes to stuff that's not so schedulable, if that's a word, then it could be overwhelming, right?
I definitely feel that way. And fostering and rescuing can be overwhelming. So it's important to have those boundaries and only do what you can do. And I think that's a lot of people in rescue get burned out because we want to do everything we can for the animals. And, people in rescue have such big hearts, but if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't appropriately take care of the animals or, do the things you want to do effectively because you're so burned out. So that's a big issue.
So Elizabeth has my brain programmed because we've been doing this for quite a few months now. So like I can feel her brain hitting mine, and I know she's going to ask, can you please speak to us about the difference between semi-feral, feral, straight before we start diving into like fostering and rescue as a whole?
Yeah, this is something that I think is so important because I get so frustrated.
Me too.
I'm in all these Facebook groups of like lost and found cats and stuff. And people will post, "Hey, I found this feral cat." But it's like rubbing all over them. It's like trying to get in their house. I'm like, that's not a feral cat. People don't know what feral means. And that's okay, but we need more education about it. So
Mm-hmm.
I like to simplify it and equate it. I tell people I equate a feral cat to like a raccoon. Like it's a wild animal. They're not friendly. They're not socialized. They're not going to make great pets inside of your house. But there's a lot of qualifiers because feral cats do sometimes become socialized to their person, like the person that's feeding them, the person that they trust. So we have a feral cat in our backyard. I've never been able to touch him, never been able to pet him, but he comes and he sits at my back door every single night. And I open the door and I put the food out. He doesn't run away or anything. He comes right to me, but I can't touch him.
Mm.
So, but
Mm.
my sister adopted her feral cat. For this cat would swat at everybody, was not nice. But this cat super socialized to my sister. And so my sister kept her and brought her inside, and bringing her inside was a whole ordeal because, the cat flipped out, tried to get out, but now she's like a little princess of the house. But so I equate feral cat to being a wild animal. This animal it's not going to make a great pet. So a friendly cat is what we think of your typical in your home cat, comes to you, lays on your bed, friendly, sweet, you could pet it, cuddle it, whatever. And each cat, again, has their boundaries and what they like and what they don't like. Semi-feral is somewhere in between where, it might have stronger boundaries, might not like getting pet that much, but is okay with being inside, or might be able to be socialized. So there's a point where feral cats can be socialized, especially if they're kittens. There are feral kittens that have grown up. They were born outside. They grew up not being touched by people, not being socialized, no really human interaction besides maybe being fed. But kittens can be socialized. So usually like under 9 months a year, a cat can be socialized. But there's a point where the feral cat, a lot of people feel guilty, especially the feeders. This cat is outside and they're in the
Some of them
elements.
want to be though.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're happier outside. If you bring a feral cat in your house, it's going to lose its mind. It's going to get
Yeah.
depressed. They like being outside, but it's good. Set up a little house for them, set up a little feeding station, put out a heated little house or something for them. They prefer being outside. They don't want to be confined to a home.
Yeah.
So I can I ask
ahead.
you a question though? Because this had bothered me for a long time. We lived in this rental house, and the people next door had a cat that they made stay outside, and it didn't want to be outside. And I would let it in our house, and I did for a while, but my husband didn't like having another cat in the house. It was a small house. And it would just bark at our door because it was so uncomfortable being outside. And then it got this big wound. And I finally told the woman, I said, look, if you're not going to take care of this cat, I'm going to call somebody because it's hurting. And so they finally took it and they had it put down, but then they got another cat that they were going to make live outside in New Jersey where it could get really cold in the winter. I don't know. Is there anything like, should I have called sooner? Like, can you do something about somebody who forces a cat to live outside that wants to be inside?
So actually that's interesting because some states, you have to check with your state.
New Jersey
because
does now. Yeah.
some states do, your cat is not allowed to be outside. So one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that cats are horrible for our ecosystem. They kill birds, they kill butterflies. They're really bad for, actually in Australia, they have a huge stray problem. They were talking about putting down all of their stray cats because they're destroying all of the birds, the
Wow.
native birds there. So it's a big problem. I qualify, if you have a cat and you keep your cat out 24/7, I count that as abuse because your cat,
Yeah.
you even doing rescue, I sometimes can tell just from looking at the cat if it's feral or if it's an indoor cat that's lost or being kept outside.
Mhm.
Because
Can
indoor
you share some of
cats-
those tells? Because
Yeah.
I'm getting better at that too. And
Yeah.
I think it would just be important. So if people see cats and maybe help them squash the whole feral, using the word feral all the time when it's not true.
Yeah. So the thing is that it depends. It does depend on the cat, but usually when you see a feral cat, it's born outside. It's used to being outside. So it's cleaning itself. It has a food source. Usually feral cats stick to a food source, usually somebody feeding them, or if there's mice or whatever. So you'll see them a lot by dumpsters. You'll see them a lot in back of restaurants and things like that. So they'll stick to a food source, but they look taken care of. They look fine. They're not like deathly skinny, looking like, unless they caught some disease or got injured in some way. But if you see a cat, it's scraggly, it's skinny, it's looking dirty, filthy. It's most likely an indoor cat that is lost outside that is not faring well, because an indoor cat does not know how to take care of themselves outside. And again, it can be sometimes difficult to tell, but usually those are some telltale signs. If you're seeing a cat, it's in bad shape. It's looking disgusting. It's dirty. It's not taking care of itself. Usually when they're outside, they're not really cleaning themselves because they're worried about looking for food. And also, this is important for people to know too. When you have a cat that you keep outside, even if it's an indoor outdoor cat, the lifespan is much shorter. An indoor cat's lifespan average is something like 15 years or so, like 12 to 16 years or something. When you have an outdoor cat or your cat, you allow it to go outside, there's so many dangers for the cat. Cars, people poison them. People put out antifreeze because people view cats as pests. They're, pooping in their garden and things like that. People don't like that. People are abusive to cats. I've seen for myself with my own eyes. I saw people throwing rocks at cats. And then I volunteered at a spay and neuter clinic. And I was like one of the techs getting the cats prepped. And cats would come in with BB gun bullets in them,
goodness.
BB guns. And I talked to the vet about it, and she said, we see it all the time. People regularly shoot cats with BB guns or
So
just regular guns. So an outdoor cat or an indoor outdoor cat, feral cat, their lifespan is between like 2 and like 7 years.
I was just gonna say, so then what do you think that number is when they're outside? So to summarize that, and there's so many other things that you touched on there, is keep your cats inside. Now,
Keep
I
them
know I
inside.
keep flip-flopping on it because I was on team, you can't have a cat outside, that's not right. And I was the one who had no clue what I was doing. Brought the cat was friendly to me and put himself in the house. Like he kind of poked his head in the door and I closed it. Did not go well. Did not go well at all. And actually came up into my second story room, sat in the window of my office. So I'm like, oh, okay. So then maybe he is okay now. He just wanted to see outside. The moment that I came into the room, he felt trapped, clawed up the screen, popped it out, and jumped for my second story. But then you know what he did? Came right back around,
Yep.
right to the door and
Yeah.
said, okay, let me back in. And I was like, oh, I thought you were dead.
Well, mine
Well,
go
I
in
would-
and out. Mine go in and out, but
And you have the environment for it.
they
You're not
stay in our
leaving them out.
backyard. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
that's
pretty much
fine.
stay in our backyard, but so I have one that's 12 and one that's 3, I think, and one that's 1. But they don't wander and go far, and we're not on a busy street. So I think it depends on the cat and the circumstances, but I agree with you. It's so easy for them to get hit by a car if you live in the wrong place. And
And
yeah.
depending on the place too, you have to be careful of other wildlife because in my
Mhm.
neighborhood we have foxes, and people have said that there's coyotes. I've seen the foxes, but these are things that will kill your cat. And I've seen videos on social media of coyotes and foxes trying to kill cats and things like that. So I would also bring my cat outside, Lily, but she was, older and elderly. We even brought her, we had a harness. We would bring her like hiking sometimes and on our road trips and stuff. So she was fine going outside, but we would do that with supervision. My 3 cats that I have now, they don't like going outside.
Well, I was going to
They're
ask
scared
you,
to
I
go
mean, I know you
outside.
have the
Yeah.
rescue going, but tell us about your cats. What cats do
Yeah.
you have?
Yeah.
What's cool about them?
Yeah, so this is actually kind of an interesting story. So we had Lily forever. We brought her in when she was around 4 years old. Again, she passed away a few months ago at like 17. So Raffi was, and it's so funny because they all have their own personalities. Raffi is around 8 years old now. And we had started fostering, again, that same humane society that was like, take these cats. He was one of our first fosters. Well, yeah, no, we started fostering him in like 2015 or something. Yeah. So like a year after we started fostering, and we knew we wanted to get another cat. And he was a tiny little baby. He was 2 months old when we started fostering him, and he was pretty feral. He had 3 siblings, And two of his siblings right away were so socialized. They were girls and they were just the sweetest little things. As soon as you pet them, they would purr and everything, but he was pretty feral. And we had a lot of worries that if we put him back to the shelter to get adopted out, that he was going to regress so much. He got very attached to me and my boyfriend, specifically me. Even now, he just follows me all around. But still to this day, we've been fostering this cat from 2 months old. He's 8 now. Nobody has seen this cat. He hides.
Wow.
So even from being a baby, sometimes it's just in their personalities. And his the pet sitters, we always tell them, just get your eyes on him. Don't pet him. He's not like friendly with other people. He's only friendly with me and Mark. But yeah, nobody can pet him. Nobody can touch him. If anybody's by the front door, he growls and runs under the bed. He hides. Sometimes we can't find him. Our pet sitter one day was searching for him for 30 minutes in our house. She could not find him. But his brother, actually, just being 2 months old, had to be euthanized. He was so feral. He was biting the vet staff. So they didn't feel safe putting him in a foster home. So we adopted him because we just felt like he was going to regress so much. So Music and Lacey are a very interesting story. So there are new adoptees, and we were not planning on getting more cats.
I don't think anybody is. Our previous
Mhm.
episode that we just had was all about how they were not planning on having cats. They loved animals, but they wound up with 2, and then they were not planning on any more cats, and now they have 3.
No,
So.
exactly. And we like to travel a lot, and we were planning on moving abroad, moving to other states. We move around. So we did not want other cats. So what happened was we fostered through this wonderful program. We fostered through Cat Care Society. It's in Lakewood, Colorado, and they have a program. I think every shelter needs this program. It's a temporary care program. So it's for people that don't want to give up their cats. It's only a cat shelter. They don't want to give up their cats, but they can't take care of them at this time, whether it's for health issues, health
My
reasons. They're in and out
gosh,
of the
so many
hospital.
Facebook posts I see with that. I actually went in, I
Yes.
was telling you guys before, I snoozed everything. It was just too overwhelming with the current volume even
Yeah.
by May of like, I hate to do this, but I can't take care of my cats for 2 months, so I have to give them away.
Yes. Oh,
Such an awful
exactly.
position.
And people don't want to give away their pets, but there's things happening right now that they can't take care of them, whether it's health issues, dealing with homelessness, some domestic violence. A lot of domestic violence shelters are now allowing pets because they realize that people stay in these abusive relationships because of their pets. But so they weren't allowing pets before. A lot of them are allowing them now, or a good amount. So this program is great. So we've been fostering with them since 2020, and through this program, and a good amount of people have taken their cats back. A few haven't, sadly, and they were put up for adoption. But Music and Lacey were very unique because this man just had this super tragic story. His wife passed away. This older man. Wife passed away. A week later, he was evicted, living in his car for 4 months with his 2 cats. Didn't want to give them up, but didn't, know where to turn, what to do. Found the shelter. So they got placed with us, and somehow he found me on Facebook. So I was messaging him, updates on them, pictures, videos, and he would message me cute little messages talking to them. Hi girls, I miss you, kind of thing, super sweet. Well, we found out he was put in hospice care.
Oh man.
Yeah, I had messaged him and I had said, hey, haven't heard from you in a while. Here are some pictures of Music and Lacey. They're doing great. And his sister responded saying, I'm so sorry. He was put in hospice care. It's looking
But
like.
how much joy did you bring to him to be able to share
Yeah.
his kids with them?
Yeah. And,
His
I
fur
did it
kids.
regularly, every week, every, couple weeks kind of thing. And one thing I just felt so bad. He loved them so much, and they were all he had left in the world. I wanted him to have these cats back so badly. So I was crushed. I mean, I was crying for days, for weeks. I was so upset. But I was so thankful that I messaged her right away. It wasn't even we didn't want to adopt them. We had talked about it, but I was I'm not adopting these cats. But as soon as she said he's in hospice, I messaged her. I said, please tell him if he's still alert, let him know that we are going to keep them. We love them so much. And she messaged back saying that she did tell him that, and that made him happy, and that he passed
I'm not
away.
crying, you're
I know.
crying.
Yeah, I know. He passed away shortly after that.
I really am crying.
I know.
So,
It was, yeah.
But I think
Oh.
though, I mean, I know we try to keep everything fun and light, but this is the reality, and it fits into the whole thing with mental health and with rescue. People have a lot going on in their lives, and
Mhm.
maybe when you're online, like I was, so it's going to help me kind of recalibrate a bit, is I would just get so angry when people would say moving, getting rid of cats, who wants them?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not what they mean, because you don't know what's
Mhm.
going on. So thank you for
And
sharing that.
yeah, and something I say people to everyone, like listeners, please, please put a plan in place for your pets. Have an emergency plan. Things happen, tomorrow is not promised to any of us. Have a plan, talk to your family members, because so many of these animals, these dogs and these cats, these pets end up in shelters or on the streets. So I actually just last week drove an hour to pick up a cat that their owner had passed away, and the cat had got thrown outside. So somebody messaged me, please,
Hmm.
can you come help this cat? Their owner passed away and it's for some reason is outside. A landlord will come and just toss your cat outside. They don't know what to do with it. So please leave them in your
Well,
will. Talk to your family members about it.
yeah, and Desiree, I mean, that is one reason Danielle and I are trying to build a community around this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
because if somebody that is in the community is having struggles, maybe somebody else can come in and help with their cats.
Absolutely.
And so I think the more community we can build, then the more backups people will have that might otherwise not have them. So my daughter has said that she would take care of the cats if something happened to me. But I'm not sure that, she's traveling around all the time. She's like you. She wants to go all over the place. Like, she just got back from Hawaii where she was for a year, and she's going here, she's going there, she's going to Japan. She's looks at the other thing. But I know she would in a pinch come and take care of them and get a house sitter or something if she had to. So
Yeah, it's very important. We actually did a whole episode on this topic, making sure you have a plan in place for
Yeah.
your pets. Say that 10 times fast.
So important. And people don't think of it, but it really is so important.
So what would you say is a positive experience that you've seen now, if we kind of tie the cat rescue work and having cats as pets to the mental health work that you do?
Oh, yeah. I mean, animals are so great for your mental health. I mean, they reduce stress. And for a lot of people, a lot of people are struggling a lot right now, whether with burnout, just they're lonely. So many people are lonely, and pets are such great companions. They really are like your little best friends. And I would say to people too, if you can't have a pet, but you are looking to improve your mental health, volunteering is such a great option. So many shelters, they want people to just come in and socialize with the cats and the dogs. But also you can some programs, some shelters want you to just come like walk the dog for an hour, or come and like read to the cats, or feed the cats. They have like feeding times. So if you can't have a pet, or you can't foster, because some apartments don't allow pets, which is a whole other thing I could get into. It makes me so angry. But if you could just volunteer, that would be great. Cats, animals, they really boost your self-esteem, your self-worth. It gives people a reason to get out of bed in the morning. It gives them purpose. Animals give you unconditional love, and so many people are feeling unloved, and they really help with that. So animals are so great for your mental health and well-being.
Yeah, I joke about it, but early on when we just had the one cat and I was saying we need another cat because that cat was only giving my husband love, and it's not fair. I want a cat to give me love, even though I know it loved me. So I can understand that. And that's why I've got like 400 of them now.
well, and I will say you can't. So Checkers, who's on the wall behind me, for those of you who look at our pictures anywhere, she's in the Admiral's outfit because she ran the house. I say this almost every episode, but she and
With
I
an
would
iron
have,
fist. She ruled the
yeah,
house with an iron fist, you
she
guys.
did, but she and I would have these long conversations. Like, she would talk to me more than my husband would. I'm not kidding. and she would talk. There was a ghost in the house. She would go in the foyer, which is a 2-story foyer, and I swear, one time she was going, "Meow, meow." Like, she was talking to
You're
somebody.
like, oh, all right.
It's like, okay, there's a ghost. But yeah, she was such a great companion because she had such a personality, and she was almost like having a person there. But she was not unconditionally loving. Like, she'd get mad at you and stuff. You didn't do the right thing. Like I said, she was the general.
That was like my Lily too. She was the boss of the house. She really thought she was a human being. Like, she really
Mhm.
thought she was like my equal.
Yeah.
That's great.
or above me.
Yeah. She dictates what you do, not the other way around.
Oh, 100%. She really did. Especially towards the end, when she was having all of her health issues, I mean, our lives revolved around her. Like, we canceled a vacation because of her.
Yeah.
And
I feel you.
Yeah, and we had actually changed. We were going to go abroad for a month, and she was just having these ups and downs. So we actually changed it to a road trip and took her with us, which I'm so glad we did because, she had a great time. We loved spending that time with her, and it's like a really great last memory of her, and but yeah, that she really dictated our
Well,
plans, our lives. Yeah.
Yeah, Checkers is still dictating. She has a grave in the backyard with flowers around it, and
But her mannerisms rubbed off on your other cats, didn't they?
a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. Although nobody's this forceful personality. Oh my God. I
No.
swear to God, she was a human reincarnated in a cat body and woke up and said, "What the heck?"
Oh my gosh. I said the same thing about Lily. And it's funny. I feel kind of bad, but my 3 cats, they are so happy now that Lily's gone. I feel bad, but they really are. Me and Mark talk about it. They're so much happier because all of our attention was
Not
on
on
her.
edge.
All of our focus
Yeah.
was on her, and they were scared of her, even though you could like poke her and she would fall over. She was like old and frail and had all these health issues. They were all terrified of her.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Do you have any stories about reunions through rescue work? Like where you found a cat that you thought it was a stray and
Yes.
like
A lot. And that's my other point. Oh my gosh, please get your pets microchipped. Please, for the love of God, get your pets microchipped. Because so somebody had contacted me that there was a cat that was they were feeding it for months, and again it was like dirty, it was very skittish, it was scared, and people think that too. They think like feral cats are skittish and scared and that they're they're not going to come near them, but that's happens a lot. Like a friendly indoor cat that's like super loving indoors is going to be terrified outside. It's not going to act like its friendly loving self. It's going to be like very skittish, right? So this cat was skittish, they couldn't get near it, couldn't pet it, anything. But they were like, it's in bad shape, it's dirty, it's skinny kind of thing. And they were feeding it for months. So I went and I trapped it, and I brought it to the shelter, and I guess it had a microchip, and they were able to find the owner. So I was so happy to hear that. And same thing with a dog that I had found. I primarily rescue cats, but we have, accidentally, not on purpose, rescued a bunch of dogs, and a dog, same thing, was, running around the neighborhood. I ended up catching it and bringing it to a shelter. It was microchipped. It was great. And then we have so many great stories of through that temporary care program that people have taken back their cats after months.
I love that.
Oh,
I wrote
so
that down.
happy
I'm
to
going to see if
hear.
there's something like that
Yeah.
around
Well,
here.
I actually had that
Yeah.
happen with one of my cats. We moved, and midnight, my black cat disappeared, and we went all over calling for her, couldn't find her. It was months, like 3 or 4 months. And this house we were in had like holes in it so the cats could get out. It was a terrible rental house. We called it the HE double toothpick hole. Anyway, and I got a call from my vet one day,
Oh,
and he's
wow.
like, "We have midnight." I'm like, "How do you
Get
have
out of
midnight?"
here.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Apparently she was
Wow.
living under someone's porch, and the woman was feeding her, and she finally managed to catch her, and it took her to the same vet because she was only like a mile or 2 away.
Mm,
And I had a microchip in her, and they
yeah.
scanned her and found out she was my cat, and I went and got her. And then she did not leave the bedroom, the master bedroom, for like a month or 2 after that. I had
Aw.
to feed her in there. I had to take food in there. I had to have a box in
Aw.
there. She would not leave the room. She was so traumatized. But yeah, if not for the microchip, and she's a black cat, and people are weird about
Yeah.
black cats. So
And that's the thing too. I think so many people just think that cats they're strays. They just live outside. People have their indoor outdoor cats. But if somebody is feeding a cat, so many people will just keep it. Like they'll just be like, oh, a cat, you're mine now. Like, no, this cat has an owner. It's missing, or it's an indoor outdoor cat. It belongs to somebody. But there's like this term that has really been kind of like bothering me. I don't know if you're on
I think I
social
need to write a
media.
book. There's like a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
things irking you.
There's
And for
a
people who are
lot.
watching on
Yes.
YouTube, I'm like having so much fun reading your mannerisms because when you're talking about cats, you're like, I love them. And you're all lit up and you're like, and stupid people.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
a little expressive, but yeah,
So-
no, there's something that irks me is this term that they use on social media, cat distribution system. Have you seen that term?
we
just
just
talked
learned
about
about it
that.
on the last episode. I
It
was like,
drives me crazy.
so now
Not
we have to
only-
talk about that because I didn't get to look at it all.
Yes.
I'm not even lying to you. I wrote it right here because I said, oh,
Oh, that's funny.
we're on my lunch break right now. Later on, I'm going to look it up and see what it's all about. But I would like your take on it.
Yeah, the last guest thought it was the universe gifting you a cat because you
It-
needed one.
Yes, that is what people equate it to. So cat distribution system. Somebody will post, "Oh, I found a cat," and people are like, "Cat distribution system at work," and I'm like, "No, that is somebody's cat, or that is a stray feral kitten." But so I have kind of two thoughts about it. One is people think like, yes, a cat, like the universe thinks that you need this cat. This cat came into your life. No, cats are overpopulated. They're everywhere. I walk down the block, there's a stray freaking cat. Like they're everywhere. It's not the universe gifting you a cat. You can walk down the block and find a cat. That is the cat distribution system is an indicator of a much larger, deeper problem that people do not spay and neuter their pets. We do
Mhm.
not have the shelter services that we need. The shelters are not state funded. They're begging for donations. They're
Mhm.
overrun, they're overflowing, they're full, they're overwhelmed. Vet staff have high rates of suicide or suicidal ideation. They're one of the highest professions with suicide rates. These people are burned out. The cat distribution system is a much deep-seated problem. And there's, people are like, "I found a kitten," and people comment, "Why can't that happen to me? Why can't I find a kitten?" Go to a shelter. There will be 100 kittens for you to adopt. So this
Yes.
term, it just hurts my soul when people say this. It drives me nuts.
I think it's interesting. I like that we have two different takes on it.
Yeah.
Because different things mean different things mean different things to different people based on their personal experiences, right? Because I know he didn't just find me because of where I live. That's how I got involved in rescues. There's just cats. I could throw a piece of garbage and there's a cat somewhere. Not anymore because
Exactly.
it's under control. But I do think that he came to me right at the right time. But I went through all the proper steps of getting him checked, seeing if he had a microchip, and then, okay, he's mine. He found me. He picked me. So
No,
I'm standing by that.
exactly. And there was this video that went viral of this dog that ran, I guess it was these people couldn't get near this dog, and people were they were feeding it, but it wouldn't go near anybody. They were trying to grab it, and it went to their daughter who was like 4 or 5, and it went to her, and it like loved her, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's meant to be. That's your soulmate." I'm like, "That is somebody's dog. You are stealing somebody's dog." And I got so much hate for that comment. I commented like, "You need to bring this dog to get checked for a microchip. You need to put up flyers. Like, this is somebody's dog. You can't just take it." I got so many hate comments because people are like, "It's their soulmate. It's meant to be. It's that little girl's dog." Like, an animal, animals love people. A dog is going to bond with somebody. That doesn't mean it's like meant to be yours. If it's like, I would be so
If they
upset
went
if I
through, all the
exactly the
steps.
proper channels. Yeah, exactly. Like
Because
if
the rescues that my friends work with, and maybe we have a couple minutes left, we could touch on this because I do have one more question for you. Is where they strictly deal in abandoned dogs. So like there are just
Right.
abandoned dogs everywhere.
Exactly. Yes.
So there's that. So I think there's like an in-between for both. Like I think it's cool for people to have positive experiences out of that,
Oh,
but if they're being
definitely.
responsible when they find it. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Well,
And
yeah. Well, you
yeah.
own a chip scanner yourself for when you're
I
out and
do.
about.
I
So
have one in my car. I always have a carrier in my car
No,
yeah.
yeah,
because
that's
animals
so
find me.
important.
Yeah.
No, and
And
when
my
you're at
thought on
rescue,
that
they do.
too,
Yeah.
my thought on that too is that it's less stress on the animal. So for me to catch them and get them in a crate and then hold them and then bring them to the police station or to a PetSmart or to a rescue, like I'd rather just have my microchip scanner on me.
Oh, definitely. And don't get me wrong. I believe in like the soul animal, the soul kitty, but I see so many posts like, "I found this cat.
I just
I'm
love
gonna
how
keep
passionate you
it."
are about animals. And nobody ever has
Yeah.
to apologize. The whole point of this podcast is for people to share their stories, share their views, and talk about cats. So you're all good.
Yeah. And just legally, you're not allowed to keep an animal that you found. You have to go through
Oh.
those proper channels to see if it, and obviously if it's a feral kitten, it's like,
Is that in Colorado,
it's a
you're
stray
saying?
cat. No, a lot of states,
Yeah.
you're not allowed to just you find a dog, you're not allowed to just keep it. That's a lot of states. Cause
Yeah, they want you to go through animal control for record of the animal.
yeah, and you get it
Yeah.
scanned, put up a flyer, that kind of, so go through the proper channels. And then again, and a lot of people aren't on social media, like if it's an elderly person's animal, so go through those proper channels and then sure, that's your animal, but yeah, you can't just, because animals are considered property and you are committing like theft if you just keep an animal that you found. You have to
Interesting.
go through those.
All these last
Yeah.
episodes are giving me so many things to look up later.
Right. There's so many great cats at the shelters. So my Kushi, he was in a cage for 4 months. He was
Aw.
semi-feral before that, found in a dumpster, and he is the greatest cat. He's 12 years old
Aw.
now. He's my baby. So
This really innocent looking fluff ball that's sleeping behind me. He is so friendly with us. He's not a lap cat, but I can pick him up and he's friendly and he like snuggles when he likes them. But around other people, like outside of my house, it's almost like there's a force field around my house. As soon as I take him out or bring him to the vet, he's a terror. And it's awful. It's stressful for him. So I try not to bring him unless I absolutely have to.
Oh, this is my last point. Did you guys see there was a Judge Judy episode where this happened? I think it was with a dog, that a family had found a dog and they kept it. And I guess they didn't go through any of their proper channels. They were just like, this is my dog. But it ended up being another family's dog. And they were like fighting over whose dog it was. So Judge Judy said, put the dog down, see who the dog runs to. And that's it. That's the dog chooses. That's the dog's. Like, it was an episode. So definitely look that up. But yeah, these cases like go to court because people just keep these animals that they found that, and they didn't bring it to a vet to get chipped. And then months later, there's a health issue. They bring it to a vet and they're like, oh, this cat is chipped to somebody else kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been hilarious if the dog had ran up to somebody in the audience.
Yeah, right? Or like to Judge Judy.
And she's like, that's it. It's yours. Go home.
Wait, I was just here to watch.
Oh my gosh, I have to go back and watch that.
Yeah.
So at this point, I like to ask, I mean, you talked about so many cool things. Anybody who's listening, if you want to come on and talk about some of these topics, or you have additional input or stuff that Desiree talked about, gave you an idea of something you want to chat on, we would love to have you. So reach out to us at thejerseypodcast.com. But before we go into how to connect with Desiree and all the awesome stuff that she's doing, we like to ask, what is something that you're excited about that you've got going on? It could be any parts of your world.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm super excited. So I just relaunched my Etsy store. And so now I have products, and a lot of them, because I am a crazy cat lady, a lot of them are cat themed and I'm a therapist. So a lot of them are like wellness, positivity, mental health themed. So there's a lot of like wellness kitties on there. So I have one, like a tote bag. It says like cats plus tea equal happiness and stuff like that. So that's something I'm really excited about. I've wanted to put out physical products for a long time. So I'm really excited about that. So I have like t-shirts.
What about stickers? We get asked for stickers all the time. So we're in the process of making stickers.
Oh, very nice. I don't have stickers yet. I just started it. So I have some cat mugs. I have tote bags, things like that, but I am adding more products. I have a few notebooks, but not too many. So I am adding more products, and I'm going to start putting I'm Cat Rescue Crew. So I'm going to start putting Cat Rescue Crew t-shirts and swag in there. So that's something I'm really excited about. I've been wanting to do that for a long time, and I've finally launched that.
Nice. What's the name of the store?
Wellness Project by Des.
Okay.
Very cool. And we'll put all that in the show notes. So what is the best way that all of our listeners can connect with you?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. You could check out my website, accordingtodes.com. But if you're looking for cats specifically, you could find me on Facebook and Instagram at the Cat Rescue Crew. So I think it's Instagram.com/Cat Rescue Crew, but underscores, and then that's on Facebook as well. And then if you're looking for more mental health, wellness kind of content, I do have a podcast, The Wellness Project with Des, and then my Facebook group by the same name, which I'm in there every day with mental health content.
Very nice.
Excellent.
And for those, I like to stalk my guests, and I want to give you a shout out. You do a really great job with your rescue page, because I run Tommy's Cats rescue page, and it's a lot of work. And I love how upbeat and positive and all the stories and the success that you share. And I know each organization is completely different and different viewpoints, but there's times where I want to help support other rescue pages, but they're so Debbie Downer that they're too sad for me to look at. So I snooze them. So I enjoy your content. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, we appreciate everyone listening. And you know where to find us at thejerseypodcast.com, on YouTube, and where you listen to your favorite podcast, which hopefully you're listening to from at the moment. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. Let's keep the conversation going. Give this podcast a rating so other cat lovers can find it. Connect with the Jersey Podcats on social media or visit thejerseypodcats.com and leave a message sharing a story or question about cats. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next episode.